War is political. War is not private sector. It's got nothing to do with, quote, the people, except that the people are the fodder and they do the dying. But we must remember one more thing, and I'll close on this note. And I think even a lot of war criticism lacks this obvious point. And we really need to wake people up to this. The greatest tragedy of this war, these wars, these occupations, is not that American soldiers are dying or are getting horribly maimed, or that we're spending so much money. It's that we're killing innocent people in Afghanistan and Iraq. That is what's wrong. And I'm going to close with a quotation which everybody I know of is always hesitant to use this quotation, but I think it's something that needs to be said. Herbert Spencer said this. Herbert Spencer was a great champion, not only of individualism, but a great opponent of colonialism and imperialism. And he's one of the most smeared people in intellectual history, because in the New York Times recently they declared that he was one of the people who used social Darwinism to justify imperialism and colonialism, which is about as opposite from the truth as could be. It drove Roderick Long, insane to hear that, because he's the founding member of the Herbert Spencer Anti-Defamation League. Anyway, Spencer, in the 1880s sometime, when Britain was fighting its second Afghan war, was at his club, the Athenian Club, gentleman's club, I guess, and some retired colonel came up to him. Some incident had happened the day before, and some British soldiers were killed or something, I forget the exact details, in Afghanistan. And this retired military man is just sort of bemoaning, lamenting this to Spencer. And Spencer looked the guy in the eyes and said, "When men hire themselves out to shoot other men on order, asking nothing of the justice of the cause, I don't care if they are shot themselves." So I will end on that note. I think we have some time for questions.
Or so wonderful is that usually the American war program is conducted in conjunction with or against other countries' war programs. So in other words, it's one government against another government. So our government may look very effective in that context.
Well, that's true. That's one of the other, in a way, it's another one of the cases of a blessing and a curse. I mean, we're an extremely wealthy society thanks to the huge element of markets, obviously nothing near pure, but that we have. And so that's a blessing. The curse is we produce a hell of a lot of resources for the state that it then uses to turn into war, technology, and weapons, which is true. If you compare to other governments, yeah, it's probably I don't know, maybe you could make a case it's more efficient than all the other governments. But here's the thing, though. It's not terribly efficient against terrorism, which used to be called guerrilla warfare. And there's a book I've only read about, have not read yet, but I want to, and I was going to mention this, but of course I didn't have time to mention everything, by David Robb. I don't know if anyone here has already seen it, called Brave New War. And David Brooks, who's not someone I'm used to quoting, but David Brooks, the columnist at the New York Times, did a column about this book. And I swear that column, if you read between the lines, sounded like a case for totally, really privatizing defense in this country. Because the point of the book apparently is, and Brooks seemed to be buying it, the quote, the new enemy is totally decentralized, totally unbureaucratic, which means a bureaucracy is completely incapable and unqualified to counter it. And so I think we need two things if we're going to make ourselves safe. It's a dangerous world, but maybe not quite as dangerous as the government wants us to believe, according to John Mueller, and overblown. But there's dangers, there's some dangers. Two things: a totally non-interventionist foreign policy, obviously. Bring all the troops home and then disband the standing army. But that won't put all the toothpaste back in the tube, okay? There are grievances from the past that aren't going to be given up just because we say from now on we're not interventionists. I think that's a little Pollyanna to think all grievances then disappear. There's some people who are going to say, okay, that's great. Starting now, you're not going to intervene. You killed my family, yesterday. So the other half of that is private, real private free market defenses, because it's not just one big monolithic defense. It's decentralized security. And that's the only thing, seems to me, that's capable of countering the kind of stuff we're seeing now. not any big plotting bureaucracy. I thought it was great that Ron Paul condemned the Department of Homeland Security in the debate. He endorsed getting rid of it, and he shocked everybody. He shocked everybody. And what did he say? What did we do? We created some big monstrous bureaucracy. Well, the smaller bureaucracy couldn't prevent 9/11. So what do we need? A big monstrous bureaucracy. That's what Ron Paul was saying. And as other people have pointed out, I mean, this point we need to be driving home all the time. The Pentagon couldn't protect its own headquarters. What have we been paying hundreds of billions of dollars for since World War II if they couldn't do that? Okay, I've gone on too long. Oh, was there one other? Oh, go ahead.